Have you ever thought about what it would be like to change your color whenever you wanted? Maybe turn green when you're feeling calm, or bright red when you're feeling bold. Well, for chameleons, that's just an ordinary part of life. Chameleons are some of the most unique reptiles on the planet. They've been around for millions of years, quietly perfecting the art of blending in and standing out. And while most people imagine they only change colors to hide from predators, the real story is much more interesting. You see, for chameleons, color is a language. It's how they talk to each other without making a sound. It's how they show off, defend their territory, and even find a mate. And the science behind it? Well, it turns out chameleons don't just switch colors like flipping a switch. Their skin is made up of special cells that can reflect light in different ways, like tiny mirrors adjusting the glow of the sun. But what really makes them special isn't just their colors. It's how they live, how they hunt, and how they've adapted to survive in some of the toughest environments on Earth. So today, we're going to slow things down. No rush, no loud surprises, just a peaceful journey into the hidden world of chameleons, where science and nature work together in ways that feel almost like magic. Chameleons may seem like quiet creatures, just sitting still on a branch, blending into the leaves. But there's a lot more happening beneath the surface. Let's start with the thing they're most famous for, their colors. Most people think chameleons change color just to disappear. But in reality, it's much more about communication and survival. When a chameleon is calm and relaxed, its colors stay soft and natural. Greens, browns, maybe a little yellow. But when it feels threatened, or when it spots another chameleon nearby, everything can change. Suddenly, those greens turn into bold blues and bright reds. It's like nature's version of shouting, "Hey, this is my space." And during mating season, oh, the colors can get even crazier. Males will flash their brightest patterns to impress the females, almost like they're putting on a living light show. But how do they actually do it? Under their skin, chameleons have layers of special cells called iridophores. These cells reflect light, and by adjusting the spacing between tiny crystals inside them, chameleons can shift the wavelengths of light they reflect. It's a bit like tuning a radio, but instead of finding a new station, they find a whole new color. And that's just the start, because chameleons have another secret weapon, their eyes. Unlike most animals, a chameleon's eyes move independently. One eye can look forward, while the other looks backward. This gives them nearly a full 360-degree view of their surroundings. Perfect for spotting danger or dinner. And speaking of dinner, a chameleon's tongue is one of the fastest tools in the animal kingdom. When it finds an insect, it launches its tongue out of its mouth at lightning speed, faster than the blink of an eye. The tongue can stretch up to twice the length of its body and snatch prey with a sticky tip. Imagine sitting still for hours, waiting for the perfect moment. And then, snap, dinner is served. But even with all these incredible skills, chameleons aren't the loudest or most social creatures. They prefer a quiet life, high up in the trees, away from too much action. They don't need to chase. They don't need to fight. They just need patience, perfect timing, and the ability to disappear whenever things get tough. It's a simple strategy, but it's worked for millions of years. But here's something people rarely talk about: chameleons aren't just color-changing lizards with cool eyes and a super tongue. They're actually some of the most specialized reptiles on the planet. Take their feet, for example. If you've ever looked closely at a chameleon's toes, they almost look wrong. Instead of individual toes like most animals, their feet are split into two little groups. On each front foot, it's 3 toes on one side and 2 on the other. And on the back feet, It flips 2 on one side, 3 on the other. Why? Well, imagine trying to grip a thin branch high up in a tree. Those split toes work like a natural clamp, holding on tight even when the wind blows. It's like having built-in tongs for hands, perfect for a life spent way up in the canopy. And let's not forget the tail. A chameleon's tail isn't just for balance. It's prehensile, which means it can curl around branches and hold on, almost like a fifth limb. So while one foot moves forward and another shifts back, the tail keeps them anchored, making sure they never take a bad fall. Every part of a chameleon is designed for a slow, careful life. They're not runners. They're not fighters. They're observers, waiting, watching, calculating, and when the time is right, they strike with precision. But perhaps the most fascinating thing about chameleons is how misunderstood they are. People think of them as these magical, color-changing tricksters. And sure, they do have that ability. But really, they're quiet survivors. Their colors tell stories. Their eyes read the world from every angle. Their feet and tails keep them steady. And their patience keeps them alive. In a world that's always rushing, always loud, chameleons remind us that there's power in stillness. That sometimes blending in is the smartest thing you can do. And that you don't have to move fast to live a remarkable life. So the next time you hear someone say that chameleons are all about blending in, remember, it's so much deeper than that. They're not just hiding, they're surviving, thriving, even quietly mastering their own little corner of the world. Maybe there's something we can learn from them, that it's okay to take things slow. To observe before we act. To adapt, without losing who we are. Thanks for joining me on this little journey into the treetops. If you enjoyed this story, there's a whole world of amazing creatures out there waiting to be explored together. So don't forget to subscribe, leave a comment with your favorite chameleon fact. And hey, maybe share this video with someone who needs a reminder that sometimes being calm, patient, and quietly brilliant is the coolest superpower of all. See you on the next adventure.